your time. And today, I'm joined by my co-host, as usual, to celebrate our top 5 films for one of the most entertaining, enigmatic, interesting, cultured, sometimes odd, certainly sometimes overacting stars that exist in Hollywood today. And that is movies with the great actor Nicolas Cage. And I'm joined, as always, by the Dowager Countess herself, Lady Cora. How are you today, ma'am? And I can now no longer hear you. Did you mute?
My mic was muted because you told me to be quiet. Yeah, just trying to set up this webcam. It's precarious. So, other than that, things are great.
But hey, we're all here now, and this is for the first time I think we've ever actually had everybody on camera at the same time, which is very cool. One of the reasons why I wanted to go do something other than Streamlabs, because that was just not letting anything work the way I wanted it to. But because we're doing this today, we're also allowed to be joined by my good friend, my hetero life mate. Good Tuesday, Mr. Jeremy Walter. What is happening, my friend?
I don't know if I am prepared to delve into this pool of Nicolas Cage-ness, but I wish I had a quote from him or something where I could just overact, but I don't know. We'll get there, I'm sure. Maybe not the bees or something. It doesn't have to make sense.
Well, one thing that does make sense is how much we all love Nicolas Cage movies. And, you know, it's like I said, he is very enigmatic, very weird, has developed his own acting style. And because of that, we've been treated to some fantastic movies. And Lady Cora is going to tell you her first choice of movies that she likes from Nicolas Cage. Go ahead, Miss Cora.
My first is Peggy Sue Got Married. This movie for me became... It's probably something most people don't know about, and he's a supporting actor. He plays the love interest in real time, then when she travels back in time where they met in high school. It's one of my movies I watch when I'm sick. I love it. Can't explain why. But Nicolas Cage plays a guy from the 50s who tries to be in a bebop band. And he has this really funky accent, which I've never seen him portray in any other movie he's played. And it's just one of my hammy favorite movies. Jim Carrey's in it as well. It's just a fantastic movie. I liked it. It's one of my favorites. And it's one of the lesser known Nicolas Cage movies. And it's a very good dramatic role for him. So,
yeah,
it's from 86, I think.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I remember seeing this movie one time, like way back in the day. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but now that I sit here and look at the movie poster, there's a whole lot of young stars that went on to something. Obviously, Kathleen Turner was already a pretty big star at this point. Nicolas Cage was kind of hitting his groove in the mid-'80s, but you've also got Helen Hunt and Jim Carrey, who they would go on to it's outstanding careers all on their own. So yeah, that's one of the cool things, like going back and looking at older movies. You just get to see some of these stars that we've always known for decades now to be phenomenal, but back then they were nobody essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, Peggy Sue Got Married came out about the time that Earth Girls Are Easy. Remember that movie a long time ago that Jim Carrey was in with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis? Yeah, but yeah. I remember this movie being pretty funny. Jeremy, have you ever seen this movie?
And Francis Ford Coppola, by the way, directed it. It's also not just a little thing there. So Francis Ford Coppola doesn't do shit. That's my experience.
Jeremy, you said you've never seen this movie?
No, I haven't. Also, is this supposed to be going to YouTube? Because I don't see it as a site.
Oh, let's check.
This may be one of those movies that you can go watch on YouTube, like free with ads. You know how YouTube's been doing that a lot lately, some of the older movies. This may be one of the movies you can find on there like that, for those of you who have never seen it. It is kind of it was from that era where rom-coms were actually kind of the norm. I think they were the easy thing to make in the 80s because everybody wanted to see them. Yeah, there was this kind of there was this atmosphere, just everybody wanting to kind of live vicariously through characters and rom-coms for some reason. I think that's one of the reasons why the 80s was such a great decade for those kinds of movies. But yeah, a good movie overall. I hope you guys go and see it. It was fun. It was just it got kind of lost in a decade of really awesome movies and awesome filmmaking.
Yeah.
And also, the 80s is when we were getting, overrun by special effects and stuff. So, I mean, everything else was getting kind of run over by a lot of stuff. This is one of those movies that you should definitely go back and revisit. But, Jeremy, what's the first one you want to talk about?
First one I have is National Treasure.
Ooh.
This is the one that Jeremy and I had that was the overlap.
Well, that's to be expected because when you think of Nicolas Cage, what's probably well, actually, I shouldn't ask that question. What's the first thing you think of? Because that may be wildly different answers.
I think maybe, is this the first Disney movie he did?
Maybe the first,
but
not the only one. Because I actually have two that are Disney that I picked.
Okay.
Weirdly enough.
I don't know if this is the first one he did with Disney. It's the first one I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, one of the great things about this movie for me is that I'm kind of a history buff as well. So I love the fact, and I know this is the poster that's up there right now is actually the poster for the second one, but I mean both these movies they're kind of the same thing. I love it when people delve into history and create these crazy stories around the stuff that actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
So to me it's kind of a perfect blend of the actor that I really like, Nicolas Cage, a topic that I really like. You got the guy that made this movie is actually the same one that made the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, so he knows how to put together kind of his fanciful story. It really was kind of a perfect marriage of all the things that we really want out of a good movie. Yeah, National Treasure is one of my favorite too. That's why I also had it on my list.
Nice.
Cora, you've seen this one, haven't you?
I have. It's not my favorite Nic Cage movie, and I'm a history person, so this movie is a little bit too movie magic for me, but I did love watching it the first time. Not going to lie.
Oh, yeah. What were you saying, Jeremy?
Well, no, I was saying that, Sam, as you said, this is, it came out in, like, what, early 2000s or something like that, and I had gone on my trip to DC in the 8th grade, like around this time this movie came out. So we watched it on the bus, like to DC. So it was kind of a nice like blend of the two. And I'd seen it before, I think, when it came out. But it's the same thing. It's like it's the intriguing like thing that he's chasing after this treasure that exists, or it's kind of like it doesn't exist because Angelina Jolie's dad's like, no, I wasted my life doing this. Don't you do it too? But there's a lot of history behind it, and it's pretty cool. I like it.
Absolutely, yeah. Do you think there's any chance we're going to get a third one to this series? I keep hearing people talk about it. I know Disney's been interested in it for a long time now. Obviously, Nicolas Cage could use the work for all kinds of other reasons because he's got a little bit of tax trouble that he's still dealing with. And to top it off, I mean, for being kind of for getting kind of modest returns at the box office. It actually is a very entertaining movie. It does kind of carry a little bit. I mean, these are movies that everybody still likes years later. I think a third one could actually work as long as they don't blow the budget up and try to do too much with it. I think it's actually really cool because they added a whole lot of star power to the second film. They added not Judi Dench. Who am I thinking of? They added Jesus Christ! I almost said Sam Neill. I know that's not right.
I don't know.
I'm drawing a blank on the cast now, but yeah, they added a bunch of talent to the second one, and it wasn't quite as magical as the first, but still a very good movie. I'm really hoping a third actually comes out.
Would they bring his dad back? Do you think? Because I love that they brought the dad back for the second one.
Yeah, John Voight's pretty excited. He probably would. I'm sure he would do it. I mean, it seemed like he had a lot of fun playing the movie. The role kind of suited him, so I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. I certainly hope he would, but then again, guess some people just want to walk away from certain projects after a while, and it has been a while. We haven't seen a lot of success from sequels that have come a long time after the last one. And I got to be honest, it's not. I mean, the Coming to America is not getting fantastic reviews right now. The Coming to America sequel isn't. I hope it's. I still think I'm going to like it, and we're going to find that out here in the next week or so anyway. But it's really difficult to do some stuff like that. So sometimes actors just don't want to. They just don't want to deal with it.
But the musical score for the National Treasure movie was fantastic.
Oh, like
in the sequences when they're running and they're exploring and when they find something, sound-wise, it really engages you to tie into the plot. Really well done. So I like that part.
I agree. But, Jeremy, you already picked one of mine, so we may have to circle back to that one towards the end. But nonetheless, I do have a very good movie for my first pick, and that movie is Windtalkers. Now, I'm a sucker for war movies as it is. I'm even a bigger sucker for World War II movies. But when you take Nicolas Cage and put him into one of these really dense, serious roles about a really dense and serious story that a lot of people haven't heard about, but is really intriguing, I think you're just asking for just absolute film gold. Now, what Windtalkers is it's the story of these two different, a couple of, actually, it's a true story about a division of Marines in World War II that were tasked with protecting a bunch of Navajo Indians that had been drafted to help give the Allies an advantage in communications on the battlefield. So basically, they started using the Navajo language to talk in code so that the Japanese wouldn't break their code. And they would use these Navajo words and phrases and terms to communicate. And the Japanese never figured this out. This is one of the reasons why they say we ended up winning the war in the Pacific in the 40s during World War II. Now, Nicolas Cage plays one of the guys who's tasked with protecting his one Navajo partner. And, of course, there's the craziness of war that goes on around it. And a lot of chaos going on. But not only is it a great acting by Nicolas Cage and everybody involved, I think Christian Slater was also in this movie, but it was a true story about something that is a very, very interesting and not nearly discussed enough topic. Have you guys gotten a chance to see this movie?
I have not, but I heard good things about it. And I've heard about the Code Talkers, or the Code, I don't know if maybe it was Code Talkers, I think the phrase they use when they talk about World War II history. I'm going to add this to my little bucket list of movies to watch. Definitely forgot about it and want to see it. Dan is a big fan of World War II movies. So, yeah, it'll be right up our alley. Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, I have a feeling you've seen this. I think me and you have talked about this film before, haven't we?
No, I don't think we have. My problem right now is, I've just constantly been playing inside my head. There's this little video that I may send you guys eventually. Of just it's 10 minutes straight of just Nicolas Cage losing his shit.
I think I've seen that video. I think there's actually 2 or 3 of them floating on YouTube.
Yeah, there's enough content to do that. And I'm we're saying this, I just see the little snippets from him. I think this is that one where it looked like he was in World War II and he's screaming no, no, and he's getting shot in the back. I'm oh, damn. So no, I have not, but that does sound pretty cool, to be honest. I would watch it. I mean, it's Nicolas Cage.
The best part about it is it wasn't big budget. It didn't get the marketing that some other Nicolas Cage movies have gotten. So it kind of flew under the radar. But if you actually go and watch it, it is a really, really good movie. It's honestly, I put it on this list because I think it is one of his more underrated films. I think when a lot of people think Nicolas Cage, they think about a few other films. This isn't one of the top 5 or maybe even 10 films that might jump to somebody's memory. Even if they're really Nicolas Cage fans, this might not be one of the big movies that kind of pops out to them. But yeah, it's definitely one that I think every Nic Cage fan should see, really every movie fan should see. Because not only is it, it's a true story too, and it's a very interesting story. It's one of the aspects about World War II specifically that a lot of people haven't really talked about. I've read a lot of history books. I've done a lot of research in World War II and all the times that I've studied it in high school and the years since. But this is one of the things that there's not a whole lot of stories about. I mean, there's literature out there about it, but compared to other parts of World War II, there's really not a whole lot there. So it does kind of tell a very important story about everything that went on in the Pacific Theater during the 40s, during World War II. But that's mine, Windtalkers. Cora, what's your next movie you want to throw out there?
City of Angels from 1998. They label it as a romantic fantasy, but I would call it a tragic, poetic love story of sorts. What really drew me to this first was the soundtrack, and then I watched the movie. I'm not a big Meg Ryan fan personally, but Nic Cage is in it, and he's fantastic. It's a very, very serious role, and he has less speaking lines, and it's more about his facial expressions and body language, and really great portrayal of how well he can act in a not an action, not a funny role, but I don't know. I just really liked it, and it's one of my favorites because he really uses his acting skills in it. It wasn't directed by anybody of note. It is technically a remake version of the same storyline, and there are some random cool people in it. Dennis Franz from that cop show, plays in it as a supporting role.
He was in a lot of cop shows, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think cop is one of his favorite things to play.
Yeah. And then also Andre Brewer, I forget his last name. He's well known for random roles. Anyways, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he plays Raymond Holtz. I think that's his most recent role. It's just a really good movie when you want a quiet moment and want a good cry, and it gives you reason to cry. This might be a chick flick, but I like it.
It is a bit of a chick flick. I think it's much more drama than romance, though.
Yeah, poetic drama or tragic drama or something like that.
Definitely a tragic drama. It was not an ending that I saw coming, but it made sense once you experienced it. Jeremy, have you ever seen this movie? What do you think of it?
No. I don't know what I think of it. I've seen it.
I'm not entirely surprised.
Shocked everybody that I haven't seen that many.
Good night, Max.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's my son going to bed. Night, Max. Love you, buddy. But yeah, it did kind of, like I said, the 90s was huge for movies like this. I got to admit, the thing that sticks out the most to me about this film was the Alanis Morissette song that came along with it that she did, which is a fantastic song. It's one of my favorite songs that she's ever done. But it is
and the
kind
Goo
of
Goo Dolls. The Goo Goo Dolls had an amazing song on the soundtrack too.
They did, but basically the as I recall, it's Nicolas Cage plays an angel that comes down to Earth, and as I recall, doesn't he save Meg Ryan's life early in the film?
Well, he doesn't save her life, but she basically has my life's all about my job, and because he literally chooses to give up his job as an angel, become immortal, and connect with her, he brings life to her life, and she decides, I really do need to get a personal life, and she falls in love and experiences emotions she doesn't ever make room in her life for, and he gets to indulge in all his curiosities about humanity. And the guy who plays the cop and all the other shows, I'm blanking on his name again already, he actually plays a supporting role that's key here because he's also an angel who chose to become immortal, but he's already done it for decades, and they somehow meet each other, and he becomes his mentor about how to become a human and blah 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 blah. And it's really interesting to see how the story unfolds, and it's more about Nicolas Cage's character and how he goes from being an angel to a human being, a mortal human, than the love story at all. So very, very, very good movie to me.
Yeah, with a tragic ending, as I recall. We won't spoil.
Yeah, that's why if you want to cry, you should watch this one.
Yeah, so don't want to spoil the ending, but just in case. Yeah, good movie. You guys should definitely go check out.
I don't often choose to want to cry though.
True, but if you want one of those tear-jerking kind of movies. Definitely a good one to go check out. But Jeremy, what's the next movie you had up for us?
Well, I guess I will offset that with one that has brought us many a meme with the Wicker Man. Because we have to talk about this. Look, we knew this was coming. Oh boy. It is a remake of one that is in like the 1970s or something like that. It had a younger Christopher Lee in it, which that was kind of cool. But it's basically the same story. It's like when he was a cop looking for this missing girl, and he ends up going to this. I guess we're cultists. Weird. Little does he know that, surprise, you are about to be sacrificed. You're not looking for a little girl. They were looking for you, rather. Sucks to suck. It's that's a tragic thing too. If you want to, you may not. It's okay. Is
it more of a thriller, or is it like a horror movie, or something else?
It's horrifying in the way that it's like, well, it's like if this happened, it would suck.
Yeah.
About. I don't know, I guess it's kind of a thriller, kind of a mystery thriller. don't know how to describe
I can remember seeing this movie once when it first came out, but I can't remember a whole lot about it. I think I may have to revisit this one. But it sounds like it's right. It's right up the alley of a lot of the stuff that Nicolas Cage did over the course of his career. Cora, have you ever seen this movie?
I have not. That's why I was asking, because I tend to not like horror movies that are frightening. But I'll at least check out the trailer. And if it looks interesting and not too freaky and scary, I'll add it to my list.
As I recall, like a traditional horror movie,
like a psychological thriller more than anything.
I guess call it more of a psychological drama. Yeah.
So what's the thing behind the memes that you guys are talking about? What do people joke about?
Nicolas Cage likes to freak out. So when he's being, he's like, you're not gonna kill him. He's not gonna bring your honey back. He's like, what is that? And they get this cage over his head, and they're like pouring bees in his head. And he just screams, "No, not the bees! Not the bees!" It's just a little clip that's just hilarious. Not the bees! Yeah, it's ridiculous. And he yells at the lady, like, "How'd he get burned? How'd he get burned?" He's like yelling at her.
Jim's asking in the chat, Jeremy, is it better than Insomnia? Which I have not seen.
I don't know. I have not seen that. Who the hell is calling me at 8:24 in the evening? Fuck off. Sorry.
You sound like an old man with that, by the way.
I mean, yeah, but also, for real, there are business hours you can call me at, and I may not even answer you then, so shit, you leave me a message.
Okay, take a note to everybody who knows Jeremy. Do not call him after 5 p.m.
Don't they know we're famous on YouTube this time of night anyway?
Right, I'm busy. Shit.
But yeah, The Wicker Man. Definitely go watch The Wicker Man.
And I don't know about Insomnia. I don't think I've seen that. It's not ringing a bell off the top of my head, to be honest.
I think you may be talking about a movie that's got Robin Williams. It was one of the weird thrillers that he was in once he got into the 2000s, if that's the one I'm thinking of. I think it was him and oh hell, why am I drawing a blank in the name? Pacino. Him and Al Pacino. Yeah.
Huh.
Jim just said it. Insomnia was him and Al Pacino. It was definitely a crime thriller.
Huh.
But yeah, go check out Wicker Man. I'm gonna have to revisit that one. I know I've seen it, but I can't remember a whole lot about it. I think I maybe saw it once, maybe twice from the time it first came out. And as I recall, didn't this movie come out like in the early 2000s or maybe in the late 90s?
I think it's early 2000s. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, go check out The Wicker Man. Go check out every Nicolas Cage movie we talk about, because I think most of these are just good movies. Mm-hmm. But it is my turn again. What should I go with?
Action. Pick an action one.
I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and go with an action one. I got to remember. Let me find the.
See, I'm like, that's not a comedy movie. I was just trying to like offset the. Here, let's cry for a minute. Like, no, let's not. Let's not the beast.
let's not do this. Which one do I want to go with? I think I'm going to go with. Was it this one? Okay. For some reason, this picture is just going to be absolutely horrible. Let me try to find another one really quickly. Actually, I'll go with this one first because I know I've got a good graphic of it right now, and I'll find the other one in the meantime. But I'm going to go with. And this was a movie that was kind of disturbing, but again, it's kind of right up the alley of what Nicolas Cage does. It's a very, very strange, scary subject, and that's 8mm. Are you guys familiar with this movie?
You say 8mm, I think of 8 Mile, the Eminem movie.
No, Jeremy.
Look, I wore the beanie, but that wasn't why.
I know, but I'm looking it up. I've never seen it or even heard of it.
Well, Nicolas Cage plays a private detective that is tasked with investigating the death of a girl.
Joaquin Phoenix and James Gandolfini. Wow.
Yeah, he's tasked with investigating the death of a girl, and what this whole movie, he's investigating essentially a snuff films in that industry. And so that that kind of category of filmmaking has always been very taboo. No one talks a lot about it. Nobody really acknowledges it. I don't even know for sure if there. I mean, I'm sure there have been actual snuff films made, but I don't know if it ever grew to the point that people worried about it at one point, especially in the 80s and 90s. But that's essentially what he's investigating is the industry of snuff films. So it's a very dark. It's definitely a trip into the darker part of your psyche. And if you like this movie, there's probably something a little bit tweaked in your melon a little bit.
I'll have to look for that one. That looks good.
Speaking of
really good.
Robin Williams, isn't that kind of also? I mean, I haven't seen this movie.
1 hour photo.
Yeah, like isn't that kind of like the same thing as 1 hour photo? Like he comes across something like that.
Well, it looks just like it, kind of like with the movie poster.
Yeah, like we're seeing like looking at the strip of the film because that's what cameras used to have. Kids, I don't know what that is anymore.
Yeah,
I'm old enough to know what that shit is. You used to have to wait a week to see if your fucking photos turned out. No.
None of this instantaneous nonsense that you can do now. You had to wait. I'm still trying to find a. Here, I'll have to go.
Let me do 3 to make sure. We have a limited number here.
Yeah. Waiting a whole week to get your pictures. Do you young kids even know what the hell that's like? Good God. But yeah,
I do. But
Corey, Corey, you really never seen this movie? I'm not entirely surprised.
I've never even heard of it. I'll be honest.
Again, it was a very a lot of his best movies were done very much kind of on the low. It wasn't a terrible big budget. There was some names in it, but it didn't. I mean, it wasn't like an MCU movie or like a Star Wars movie or one of these ones that really gets blown up in marketing. It kind of came and went really quietly. But the subject matter, like I said, it's really, really dark. So if you want to take a journey into the darker, twisted recesses of filmmaking, this is probably a good one. And on top of that, it is kind of an action movie at its core.
Yeah.
But again, the story takes you to some pretty dark places in your own mind, and it is pretty scary to a point. So
not to date myself, but maybe why I haven't seen it is because this came out the year I graduated high school. I was busy being a dumb 18-year-old, so yeah.
But this is exactly the kind of movie that
when I was a dumb 18-year-old.
Yeah, this is exactly the kind of movie that would have really grabbed hold with those younger kids, though, that were like, your parents don't want you to see something this dark, so you kind of get attracted to it, and it becomes kind of that cult movie that teenagers kind of share around with one another.
Yeah.
This definitely kind of fits that a little bit. But yeah, 8mm is a fantastic movie, and if you guys haven't seen it, you really should try it. Like I said, you will question yourself if you like this movie at all, because it does kind of, if you have that little thing in your brain that you don't want to admit that makes you like this movie, it's kind of scary. It's a very, very dark subject matter. But again, it's done in a way that it's extremely entertaining, and it is kind of an interesting story. It kind of cookie cutter a little bit. There's been a lot of movies like it where, private detective goes off into this dark thing and finds all kinds of darkness and yada 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 and craziness, but it's Nicolas Cage, which makes it that much better. It's a totally different layer when there's Nicolas Cage involved. But yeah, go check that movie out if you get a chance. And Miss Cora, what's your next film?
Guarding Tess came out in 94. One, I love political thrillers, so since it's a story of a former first lady, has kind of that air to it. Nicolas Cage plays a Secret Service agent who got reprimanded, I guess is the right way to put it. He was on the president's detail and he did something bad, and they put him on the task on the guarding team for the former first lady whose husband, who was president, is now deceased, played by Shirley MacLaine, who is gold right there. Shirley MacLaine can do anything. And then it's all about how he at first, bickers with her and doesn't get along with her. And then they connect, and she gets kidnapped, and there's ransom, and he ends up, saving her life. It's really great. There's a lot of really well-known, hard to remember their name kind of supporting actors in this. James Redhorn plays her butler. Richard Griffiths plays her personal chef. It's a great random sort of actiony political thriller / campy feel good, how people connect and grow kind of movie. And I loved it. It's just one that really, pulls at the heartstrings, and there's no romance in it. So it's how many movies, make you feel good and seem like, I don't know, it's more about a family connection and people. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyways, love it. Nicolas Cage plays a really good part of a Secret Service agent. He's very believable, and he looks good in the suits. So what can I say?
He does look good when he cleans up on occasion, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And then shades.
Yeah.
Jeremy, have you seen this movie? What do you think of it?
I'm going to culture shock everybody again. No, I have not seen this movie. I was also 2 years old when this movie came out. I know that's not an excuse, but
no, that's okay. I mean,
I just heard everybody right there.
That's okay. I mean, I think it's a lesser known one, but it's great. Yeah. I liked it. Yeah.
One of the fun things about this movie is it does kind of explore. It does explore this relationship. It explores a different kind of relationship because there is this closeness that develops between the two without it being a romantic closeness or even a closeness where they like one another. Yeah. Nicolas Cage very much is duty bound in this movie, and Shirley MacLaine's character is very much hard to deal with. But it does explore the growth of relationship between this kind of oil and water kind of thing. You know what I mean? These people should not match at all. But in the end, they do come to this understanding, and they do come to appreciate each other's company at one point.
It's almost like a surrogate mother and son kind of relationship.
Yeah, it is how odd relationships grow, and the odd relationships can sometimes be some of the best ones to have in your life.
And he gets to be a badass and shoot somebody to get information out of him to try to save her life. He shoots a guy in the foot in the hospital with his Secret Service issued weapon. And he's like, I'm not leaving this room until you tell me where she is. Like, boom. It's fantastic. And then he saves her life. And then at the very end, I'm ruining it, but it's a great part of the movie. The president offers him back his role back on the president's detail, and he chooses to stay with the former first lady.
Yeah, like I said, it's the way that an odd relationship grows into a relationship that you find yourself valuing by the end of the movie, that we all become kind of emotionally invested in. It was a pretty good movie. I haven't seen it for a long time, but I remember seeing it. I remember liking it a lot when I did. But yeah, definitely go see Guarding Tess. I think it's a fantastic film, and you guys should absolutely go see it as well. It's my turn again, isn't it? Now I'm going to go as long as I found a decent enough picture to use for this. I found one that was just decent enough to use. It's the DVD cover. I'm sorry that it has such a crappy DVD cover, but it's a fun movie to watch, and it's Bangkok Dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting because he plays an assassin in this movie, which in and of itself is not too big of a deal. But he ends up, Jeremy's seen this, I know he is, I can tell by his reaction. But he ends up, a couple of things happen. Number one is, and one of the things that happens in some movies about assassins is that the assassin themselves ends up becoming the hunted, and that's what happens in this movie. But over the course of this film, not only is he the one being hunted, but he ends up taking on kind of a protege of sorts. And while he's on the run and trying to figure out his situation, he's also trying to teach this other young kid how to be an assassin. So there is a certain amount of kind of this fatherly, teacher, mentor kind of relationship he's got going on with this young pupil, the student of his, as well as the action of being on the run from people who are trying to kill him, as well as him killing a bunch of people. So it's got a couple different angles that it comes from, which I thought was really entertaining. And on top of that, I mean, it's shot in Thailand, which is a beautiful place to shoot a movie anyway. Not just in the countryside and the green areas of Thailand, but also in the city. Obviously, it's in Bangkok. And he does at times, he's very descriptive about how beautiful the city is and how he uses that to do what he does. So yeah, it's one of those movies that, I mean, when he really sinks his teeth into a role is usually when he shines the most. There's been several examples over the course of his career, but when he does that, he usually kind of excels way beyond anything you ever expect for the movie to be. And I think this is one of those movies. Sadly, it kind of came at that point where his career was on a bit of a downswing. And I think that because he was kind of leaving the public consciousness as kind of like one of the favorite people in Hollywood, that maybe people didn't give this movie the credit it deserved. But it actually is terribly entertaining, and he is terribly good in it. And I really hope a lot of people see it. Have you guys seen this movie? Cora, let's start with you. Have you seen this movie at all?
I have. I saw it once, half paying attention when I was drunk one night or drinking. I don't remember all of it. I watched it, but I did like it.
Jeremy, did you say you haven't seen this movie?
No, it's those ones I'm like this. Like you said, this is a bit later because I'm noticing the pattern here that most of them are like say in the 90s or early 2000s. I'm like, I think this is a little bit late, right? Because I remember seeing this when I was like a kid when it was coming out, and I was just kind of like, what? What's the guy from National Treasure doing? What is this movie? I don't know. Yeah, I think being
definitely a good movie.
And shit. I don't know why I didn't get into it.
Yeah, it's a fun movie to watch. Like I said, from a lot of different angles. It's really good. I hope you guys will check it out. But Miss Cora, what's the next movie you want to share with us tonight?
That would be The Family Man, which came out in 2000. You could maybe label it a Christmas movie. But then you go back to the argument of It's a Wonderful Life, which in my opinion, this is kind of a modern remake of. With why am I blanking on his name? I always forget his. Don Cheadle plays the angel, essentially, who gives Nicolas Cage, who is a big Wall Street financial guy, hedge fund leader guy, a chance to see how as they call it in the movie, a glimpse as to what his life would have been like if he hadn't gone off to London to take an internship and instead stayed in New York and married his college sweetheart. And in that dream world, he ended up giving up the financial career and working and running her father's tire company in New Jersey and had kids with her. Very like polar opposite lives, from the one he actually had and the one he could have had. And Téa Leoni plays the girlfriend. Fantastic movie. Don Cheadle is fantastic in it. I forget who her parents are played by. Let me see if I can find it. He used to. Oh, here it is. Harve Presnell. I think he did a lot of westerns and things like that back in the day. And the woman who played his mom, very beautiful, Francine York. She aged very well. Beautiful woman. Just a fantastic movie. And the guy who plays his best friend is Jeremy Piven, who is his best friend because in the fictional world of his version of his life, they became neighbors. And to me, it's really sad at the end when he comes out of the dream world because they're not actually friends and the kids don't exist. But it has a beautiful ending, and it's just one of those high contrast movies where it shows you two very different worlds and how they collide and how things can change. And it kind of makes you sit back and think, how different would my life have been if I had taken this turn? It makes you reflect a little bit. And Nicolas Cage does a wonderful job of balancing being, this strong personality as his original self and then being thrust into this life that he has no idea what's going on, almost like he has amnesia. And it's just fantastic. So, yeah. And the little girl who plays his daughter, oh my gosh, I hope she did acting as she grew up. I never looked it up. Amazing little girl actor.
Jeremy, have you seen this movie? What do you think of it?
Nope. Butterfly Effect. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, because I see the poster. The tag is, what if? It's kind of like, just one difference in your life, and it's like it could be two vastly different outcomes. And if you got to see that from an outside perspective, but yourself, I don't know. That'd be some deep fucking thought right there.
And then the ending is beautiful because you don't know what happens. I don't know if you've watched the TV series Frasier. Well, it ends with him getting on a plane, trying to go make things right with the love of his life who left town, and you don't know what happens. This ends with him finding the college love of his life, and she's moving and he's trying to talk to her and say, maybe we should try. Maybe there's something here. And he chases her down in the airport. And she's like, you just need to go. That moment passed. We're done. And he starts telling her the story of the fictional children that they had or would have had that he remembers from the quote glimpse he was on. And that stops her from leaving. And they're sitting having coffee at the airport, and you don't know what happens after that. And it's just not a tearjerker per se, but it's heartwarming without being cheesy and like all Hollywood, perfect ending. So I love it.
I can honestly say I think I saw this movie one time, but because I hate Christmas, I don't watch a lot of Christmas anything. so if the movie poster even slightly looks like Christmas, I'm usually turned off.
Yeah.
But because it's Nicolas Cage, and I love Nicolas Cage, I'm sure I saw it once. I do remember little scenes, but like I said, I don't think I've seen this movie since it came out.
You get to see him near the beginning singing opera out loud with his terrible singing voice. It's hilarious.
He does have a terrible singing voice. Jeremy, you've already talked about this movie, haven't you?
Yes, that I have no idea. I said butterfly effects. That's what I said.
Yeah, go check out Family Man. Honestly, go check out every Nicolas Cage movie, like I said, but definitely go check out Family Man as well. Definitely more. It did really have kind of this It's a Wonderful Life vibe to it, which most Christmas movies do in some way or another. It's a Wonderful Life, or maybe a Christmas Carol, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But go check out The Family Man starring Nicolas Cage. And it's my turn again, isn't it?
Yes.
No.
Okay. I'm gonna hit you guys with a good one. It's not?
My turn.
Okay, no, it's your turn. Go ahead, it's your turn. I don't know what I was thinking. Go ahead. I want to save mine for longer anyway, because I think I have the best Nicolas Cage movie ever made coming up.
Are you sure? I'm about to drop a big one on you right here.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
We're really playing a game of like who's got the best Nicolas Cage movie. I want the board game now. But anyway, my next movie was another one from the 90s called Face Off.
Oh,
I had to go there.
When we were talking about movies Monday, we mentioned this, so I didn't add it to my list knowing he would add it to his, but it would have made my list.
I would. You know I would. That was a weird one for me. It's weird, but I remember seeing this, like, I was a little kid. We were on like vacation or something, and I always thought it was cool that this cousin of ours had there were 2 shelves of just nothing but VHS is another thing none of you kids probably know about, that I was just amazed by it. And then we just watched this and I was kind of confused. I was like, what the hell? It was just this really surreal thing to get on a little kid. But now seeing it, I'm like, this is over the top, some action. This is some It's very 90s. You can definitely see it. And actually, CinemaSins just did a video on this. I'm plugging them because I don't know why. Because we have the same names. That's part of why. Yeah, it's a weird concept, but kind of the whole good guy, bad guy, and they, I guess technically, with their faces. Can you imagine all of a sudden how you see John Travolta one day, and also now he looks like Nicolas Cage? You know what I mean? It was kind of dick move on Nicolas Cage's part.
And completely different bone structure, by the way. They could have picked a different actor who had better matching bone structure, but that's a little movie magic.
Oh wait, I lied. It was not CinemaSins. It was the pitch meeting guy. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Oh, no, you're not.
Because he did mention it. He's like, even though the John Travolta version of Nicolas Cage is like, oh, I'm gonna go live your life now. I'm gonna sleep with your fucking wife. And we're like, the wife didn't notice the body's different. They didn't switch bodies. They switched faces.
Yeah, who doesn't notice that?
You know? Like, what the hell?
I wondered that myself. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and I know how he's like, oh, well, we have different blood types. That's how you can tell. And then he tells her a story there that only John Travolta would have known. And it's kind of like, you maybe should have led with that. That's, you didn't have to go with we have different blood types. Well, no shit.
As a woman who has a husband, and you guys would know this if your girlfriends or wives switch bodies. I mean, no, you would know. You would know. But anyways, that's the movie magic, right?
I don't even know that. I don't even know what this movie is anymore, to be honest.
But it's great, though. I mean,
it's entertaining.
It's a suspenseful action movie.
Yeah, you can sit back and just switch, like Frank always mentions, you can just switch your brain off and then just, I don't know, you can just enjoy some over-the-top shit for a 2-hour movie or an hour and a half, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mere concept of a face transplant is just, it's crazy on the face of it, so to speak. No pun intended. But the fact that you could like take the face off of a dead guy, put it on a living person, have that person literally go undercover to bust up some kind of a massive crime syndicate is crazy. And Rachel, says it in the chat. I think of it when I hear about Face Off as a ride at Kings Island. Yes, I was actually thinking of that too.
We were talking about that. Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. I was like, oh, that's right. Shit.
Well, it's one of the movies that came out in that span of about 8 or 10 years where they were literally naming roller coasters after this. There was Face Off, there was Top Gun, there was Days of Thunder. They made roller coasters based on all these movies because Paramount. Some people may not realize they actually owned. Yeah, they actually owned the a division of theme parks for a long time. So Kings Island in Cincinnati, near where we live, Great America out in California, where I grew up. King's Dominion somewhere else, I forget where it is, but there was 5 or 6 big theme parks around the country that Paramount owned at one point, and they bought those in large part to kind of help promote their product, their brand, their characters. So that's why they ended up making a Top Gun roller coaster, and they had this weird. Jeremy might remember this. The Days of Thunder ride was basically this weird seat you sat in the theater that moved around and. Shook all the time when you were doing all your stuff. So the
Hardcore Henry report was Hardcore Henry. Yeah,
exactly.
I thought it was wild, man.
It was. I thought that was an interesting ride. I mean, it wasn't necessarily exciting, but it was kind of cool to feel what it's like to be on the bank of a racetrack. It's banked at like 35 degrees. It was really weird, but yeah, I mean that was one of the things they owned those for, was to help promote their brand, their movies and stuff like that. And Face Off is one of the ones that got one of those.
And I have to agree with Rachel. She misses when they owned it, and I'm like, yeah, because I remember that. That's when I went. Like I said, when I was younger, and that's what I remember Kings Island being. And now it's just kind of like, nah, I don't know. It's not the same. Snoopy Land is going too, and I'm mad about it still.
Yeah.
I call it Snoopy Land. I'm so mad that it's gone.
Calm down. We'll always have memories.
You always got pictures, right?
Yeah. Go check out. Yeah.
I'll have to go find the film picture. Sorry, I gotta go dig for them.
Definitely go check out Face Off if you haven't seen it by now. I mean, Christ, the movie's only 20-something years old. But yeah, it was one of those movies you see on the poster. It came out June 27th. It was one of those summer action movie spectacles that everybody just went and had fun with. So definitely go check those out. Yeah, now, let's see. I've only got one more movie to share because, me and Jeremy already went over National Treasure. But I think this is by far, the best Nicolas Cage movie ever. Now let me, I don't know why my computer's, there we go. It's getting kind of laggy on me, but like I said, there's a certain something that Nicolas Cage does in a movie, the way he brings out a character, the way that his personal eccentricities come out. Yeah. And they make it all that much better. He did a movie with Scorsese many, many years ago. And I don't know why it's not coming up. I keep trying to screen share so I can show you guys. Until it comes up. Why is it not bringing it up? There it is. Share. I don't know why my computer's being a douchebag. But it's called Bringing Out the Dead.
I've never heard of it.
First, Jeremy, this is a big deal. You have to see this movie, Jeremy. No, this.
All right. If any of them that we're gonna, I'll check this one out.
Okay. Nicolas Cage plays a paramedic in New York. Now, he has not slept regularly as described in the movie, in months. So obviously he's getting a bit mind fucked, because not only has he not slept very much in months, he's in a job that is very, very stressful in a town where that job is 10 times more stressful. Oh, wow. And he's haunted by the ghost of this one person that he lost, and it goes on and on through the course. And this entire movie takes place over the course of one of his shifts. Now, he obviously is acting neurotic because, for those of you who don't know, if you go a long time without sleep, you can have a psychological break. So you're looking at Nicolas Cage, who was borderline psychotic anyway, playing a character who's having a psychological break on no sleep, working one of the most stressful jobs you can work. And not only that, but he's surrounded by the likes of Ving Rhames, John Goodman.
And Patricia Arquette. Man, that's a good cast.
Oh,
Tom Sizemore, Patricia Arquette. He is just surrounded by fantastic.
Wow.
Dude,
all right.
I have this on DVD, so next time you come by, Jeremy, we're gonna have to pop this one in. It's not terrible long, but man, it is a deep movie into this guy who is broken. I mean, he is on the verge of losing his shit. He shows up late to work in the beginning of the movie because his boss said, if you show up late, I'm going to fire you. And there's this fantastic, really, really funny scene to where he walks in and his boss is like, okay, you're riding in this ambulance with this partner tonight. He goes, no, you said if I showed up late again, you'd fire me. He's trying to get fired because his life is so stressful that he's looking for a way out of the job. And his boss looks at him and goes, I'll fire you tomorrow. I promise. Just go ride with this guy tonight. and he sucks it up and goes back out there because his character is this glutton for this punishment. It is the best Nicolas Cage movie I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot. But this movie is so deep. And again, it's a very spiritual, psychological, not psychological because it's a horror movie, but because it's all in his head, all his craziness. And there's this one really great scene where, because he keeps coming across Patricia Arquette's character because early in the film, he takes a call where Patricia Arquette's dad is hurt and they call an ambulance for him. But he keeps coming across her character. And this is kind of the outlet that he has. The one person.
Is she a love interest?
Kind of yes, kind of no. It's not necessarily, their romance doesn't build like a regular romance. They are just kind of kindred spirits in a way. I mean, I think it plays like that enough to where you notice it, but it's not like they walk away into the sunset hand in hand at the end of the movie. It's not that kind of a relationship. But yes, it's a very, very dense movie about a very dense character played by the best actor that could have played him. I honestly don't think this movie would be any good at all if you'd have put anybody else in this role. I think this movie would have been forgotten almost instantly. And sadly, it's been almost forgotten as it is. It is phenomenal. If you've never, this is the penultimate Nicolas Cage movie. Like to me, it is the crown jewel in the Nicolas Cage career right now. I think it is phenomenal, and you guys should absolutely see this movie.
Nice.
And I am bummed that neither of you guys. I'm really shocked that Jeremy has not seen this movie. I'm quite certain I brought this movie up to you before. I had to. I know I had.
I would not doubt it because I'm sure Nicolas Cage has come up in conversation before.
That's why when. It was Jim M. Actually is the one that suggested we do Nicolas Cage movies. That's why as soon as he said in the chat, I was like, "Oh yeah, if we're going to concentrate on the movies of a specific actor, I think Nicolas Cage needs to be one of the first ones we go after."
It's fair.
But yeah, this movie is phenomenal, and I hold this up against any other Nicolas Cage movie. As much as I like things like National Treasure and stuff like that, because it speaks to me at a couple different levels, being a history buff and all that. This movie right here is amazing. If I had to put a top 20 list together, I'd say this is probably on it. Top 10, I don't know, maybe, but it's in the running. It's in the running for the 10 spot. It's a fantastic movie, and I hope you guys get a chance to go watch it.
Very good.
Miss Cora, what have you got next?
My last one is Lord of War from 2005. It's my favorite Nic Cage movie of all time for many reasons. One, it portrays something you don't see in a movie very often, the real life backside of an arms dealer's life. He's got a great supporting cast in this. You got Bridget Moynihan, Jared Leto, just a whole slew of awesome people. Ian Holm is in it. And he basically plays this guy who grew up in Brooklyn as an immigrant child with his parents. And he has ties back in a sub-region of Russia. I forget which one. And his uncle is still in the military. And he decides to try to make some money by selling one deal or so with his uncle, getting the weapons and smuggling them to someone else. It turns into an empire. And it's also a political thriller in a way because it shows you behind the scenes of how governments actually work with arms dealers to try to get weapons and equipment to their allies without officially doing it on the books to get around, oversight it with, you know, like say in our case, Congress and such. But he plays and Ethan Hawke plays the cop who's after him from Interpol. And Jared Leto's character, a lot of people don't know he did this role, but Jared Leto's fantastic in this as his brother. And it's just a stunning movie. He does some monologue stuff over it, like Bernie Mac kind of did with the Bernie Mac show, which is really great. And it's just kind of a saga about this guy's life. And the guy who wrote and directed also wrote The Truman Show, which is one of my favorite movies. His name is Andrew Niccol. So he's got, and he wrote and directed this as well. So fantastic. I think it's a lesser known. They call it an action crime drama, but to me, it's kind of like a biopic of a fictional character. Great shit.
I like that biopic of a fictional character. I kind of like that.
Yeah. And I don't know who plays the African coup leader who does business with him. But he's fucking fantastic. They don't list him with a picture on the thing, but fucking fantastic. Let me see.
I want to say it was Delroy Lindo. I don't know.
Anyways, fantastic. Fantastic movie. Nicolas Cage really shows his range of emotions and experience. And again, he's in a lot of suits in this movie. So I like that too.
I'm noticing why she picked the movie she picked.
Jeremy, have you seen this movie? What do you think of it?
I have. I do own this movie, and I think, again, it wasn't like young. Okay, younger, but I remember like buying this myself. Like I had money of my own, so I was probably like in my teens or something when I saw this / bought it.
Oh, nice.
And because I remember. Frank knows, but I've been around guns like my whole life. So I don't know. Trailers like him, it's like he's the camera and he's sitting there like, you know. Saying these stats about like guns that are like, oh, there's 30 guns in any given country at one time or something like that, or something like that. And I was intrigued. I was very like, I'm gonna fund that movie. That sounds fun.
I don't want to give away the ending because this one's awesome, but the ending is so fucking hilarious. Love the ending.
I think Eamon Walker is the one who plays the dictator that he's dealing with.
Okay, yeah, great. I mean, that guy's a scary motherfucker in this movie. I mean, he comes to the United States and shows up on his doorstep, and you're like, whoa. Yeah.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah, I love that he can play a role, that Nicolas Cage can play a role in a movie of a gun runner, and generally speaking, you don't think of a gun runner as someone who you're going to sympathize with on any level.
Yeah.
But then again, you're like, you kind of relate to this guy a lot. Mm-hmm. You're like, wait a minute, he really is just trying to make a buck like everybody else.
Yep.
And you see now granted, I don't know if this is necessarily an accurate portrayal of what it's like to be a gun runner. Don't know many gun runners, so I can't really tell for sure. But you do kind of feel like, wait a minute, that maybe this is just a view of that profession that I've never had before.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would imagine that maybe Nicolas Cage didn't go talk to a lot of gun runners, but maybe he talked to some people who were able to give him some insight as to how to play the role.
Well, the director-writer probably did some research, and he probably had some stuff for Nicolas Cage to, read about or feed off of.
It's possible, but I mean, how often do you find yourself on the side of a gun runner in a movie? It's like, but unless, of course, Nicolas Cage is doing it in Lord of War.
Yeah, great question. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
like,
Jeremy, I think
from what?
No, go ahead. You were saying something.
Oh no, I was like in the same context of you wouldn't think someone who's an arms dealer. It reminds me of he's got a gun to the dude's head. He's like, "You're an arms dealer. This would be the easiest trigger I've ever had to pull." I'm like, but if you watch this, you're kind of like, I mean, seriously. I mean, I was just like, that's a tense scene. I'm just like, whoa, shit. Yeah, and then if you watch this, you're kind of like, let's hear him out. Now imagine if Nicolas Cage played the gun runner in that movie. That'd be funny.
And it's really sweet, the family stuff. Like when he first shows up to the base where his uncle is the commander to buy, quote, buy stuff, you know? It's like, hey, how you doing? Almost like he's just coming for like dinner or something. And it's just so like, wow. I mean, yeah, it was pretty cool.
He has a family too.
Oh, you want some tanks? You want this whole row of tanks? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. One thing I will mention, I don't now that I just think about this, for some reason, have you guys ever seen Boondock Saints, the first one, or
once?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, or the second John Wick movie, like the guy that not sells, but like supplies the main character with guns.
Yeah.
I've had different friends on different occasions tell me, they're like, I imagine you would play that guy in a movie. You'd be that guy who's just like, yeah, here. Turns on a light, there's a whole room of guns. You're like, knock yourself out. I'm like, what? I don't know why. Everyone just tells me that. And I'm like, oh, well.
As you sit in a room that looks like there's a hidden panel potentially that could open up and have like a bunch of guns behind you like any second.
Yeah, like a fucking little, like the old Batman to the head up, boop, push the button, and the wall turns around. There you go.
Yep.
TSS
I don't know.
in the chat.
Apparently, I should do that.
Yeah, TSS2 in the chat says he can't wait for the Nic Cage film where he stars as himself. The name of that movie is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That's where he's going to play himself, who is getting paid to do an appearance at a event for somebody. And it turns out that somebody who's paying him to show up at this event is on the radar of the CIA. So the CIA approaches him to help deal with this guy. It's one of those just outrageous, fantastical situations. You're like, this would be a great Nicolas Cage situation. Oh, by the way.
Is it a comedy or is it a drama or is it, what is it?
I think it's going to be, it sounds like it's going to be mostly comedy action, but I mean, it's Nicolas Cage playing
like a meta comedy.
Okay.
It's
kind of like that Morgan Freeman movie where he goes to the grocery store and Morgan Freeman interacts with one of the employees and they end up spending the day together. It was weird as fuck.
I have not seen that. I'll have to look into that.
He ends up like at a grocery store and needing a ride. And this grocery worker gives him a ride and it's all about them talking about their lives. And then she drives him home to his fancy house in Hollywood. But he plays himself. It's one of those weird ones. I'll try to find the name of it.
I'll find it. Check that out.
It's got a really beautiful Latina woman as the grocery worker.
I'll have to look into that. It sounds like I've heard about it before. I just haven't seen it.
10 items or less.
That name rings a bell.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
that name rings a bell.
Yeah, it's where he literally plays himself, and he plays against Paz Vega. Anyways, yeah. It's strange, but good.
But Jeremy, you've got another one. I know you do. Give it to us. What do you got?
Yes, you know I do. And speaking of it is called Knowing. Another one of those. Another one of those ones. I think again, this might have been when I was a little bit older, and I went to movies on my own. I remember seeing this because it was. I guess it is kind of like it's a thriller, end of the world type movie, kind of in the same vein as like National Treasure. He stumbles across like an algorithm of like numbers that have been the dates significant natural disaster or man-made or otherwise, and like he's figuring it out, and he gets to a certain point where he's like, this is the end now, we're here, so like what does this mean? That date hasn't happened yet, so they're all trying to figure out like what did it mean. And then kind of takes a little bit of a what's that movie called? I don't say Shyamalan's fucking name.
Interstellar?
The fucking aliens.
Signs.
No. Yeah, Signs.
Signs.
Okay.
Aliens.
It has like a Signs feel, and then it kind of it's the whole alien angle. But I mean, I guess if we're gonna talk about it, the ending it's kind of sad because it's like the point was that they came to Earth to take the kids. They took them away. Like I think they were going to destroy the Earth, or it was going to be destroyed. And I guess this contingency plan was we're going to take the younger kids and then raise them elsewhere. You never even really hear about it, but it's kind of creepy in a way. Like when that scene, like where he comes across one of them, it's like dark light. It's almost like some Alan Wake type shit. If you ever played that game, it's amazing. He's got like his flashlight. He's like looking.
And
around,
Rose
like,
Byrne is one of my favorite supporting actresses. That's great.
Yeah.
I forgot that she was in that. She's really good.
And then it sucks because they fucking leave them. They leave the adults, but I'm kind of like, what? You can't take either. Like, is it kind of like a well, they've lived their life. We're kind of like the kids of the future. Literally, they're like, here, we're gonna take them and well, bye, Earth. Been nice knowing you.
It's really hard to do. It's really hard to do stuff that is like potentially world-ending in a movie without making it look kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Even the ones that are good, there are moments where it's like I kind of cringe at just the thought.
2012.
Just the thought of how they're doing it is kind of cringy. This one wasn't nearly as bad though. This was kind of supernatural in a way. So it kind of eliminated that that kind of like it seems goofy that this is happening. You kind of eliminate that by making it a bit not spiritual, maybe supernatural. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of drags you along too, because you're wondering too, like, wait, what's this mean? Like, you're just amazed that he figured this out in the first place. And you're like, oh shit! So what's gonna happen at the end? That's the big question. Yeah, the last date hadn't happened yet, so you're kind of like holding your breath, like, oh, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Four Squatter says, "What about Willy's Wonderland?" I haven't seen Willy's Wonderland yet. It's one that came to me it came to me kind of recently. J-Man over on the Derailed podcast. He mentioned that just a week or two ago. In the last couple of weeks, I didn't even know the movie got made, but I'm definitely gonna want to check that one out. It does look pretty good. It's got kind of a really cool concept. It's one of those weird situations that kind of fits Nicolas Cage's acting style. So I definitely want to check that one out. I'll be getting around to that hopefully soon. TSS gives us his top 5. He says National Treasure. I agree. Kick Ass. Yeah, that's a pretty good one too. My only knock on that franchise that he died in the first one and couldn't get back for the second one. Spoiler alert. Con Air and The Rock. Great movies.
Con Air we did not mention, but yeah, a lot of people. I think that's one of his best known movies, I would say.
Yeah, Con Air and The Rock. Well, I mean, it's got Bruckheimer and Ben attached to it as well.
I mean, I was hoping one of you guys would do Con Air or The Rock, because I'm like, I didn't want to do them because they were like, well, those are good movies. I didn't want to do obvious again. I don't know.
He also said, and The Wicker Man, only because it's so bad that it's good.
Sorry to let you down, Jeremy.
It's okay.
But yeah, definitely good. Cora, I feel like I'm off a couple. Like Cora, have we
I'm done.
Wars? Oh,
I'm done.
Jeremy, I know has got one more left.
Yeah, because I know we shared one. You said you didn't have as many. I don't know. Or I stole somebody's. National Treasure. That's right. My bad.
I'm pretty sure I did mine. I got through all mine. I may have skipped you at one point, but anyway, I know what's next for you. Go ahead and spit it out.
Maybe you skipped me twice and I just didn't catch it the second time. I don't know. I was trying to pay attention. The last again, we're circling back to Disney. I didn't realize I end capped these Disney, but The Sorcerer's Apprentice was my last one.
Oh.
I'm going to close my list. Yeah, where he basically looks like Chad Kroeger from Nickelback, but I'm mad about it. Look, right. I love the OG, right? Sorcerer's Apprentice. It's a classic thing. And again, I think I saw this with my mom. Actually, I might have been, like I said, not quite that era where he started to kind of fall off. Yeah, I went to see it, and I didn't hate it. Like again, I think just getting into Nicolas Cage. Look.
Sorry. And your top 5 Nic Cage movies. You go.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. It's all good. It's like recommending a restaurant. It's like, yeah, you should go check this place out. Yeah, the food gave me food poisoning, but hey, you should go.
I had a good time.
That was great. I'll shut up.
I didn't say that more, to be honest. No, that was good. So I can't go back on that now.
Was there a sequel? Is it based on books or what?
No, Sorcerer's Apprentice was Oh, that one old with Mickey Mouse when he had the class. Was he got the hat and the robe, the blue hat with the stars and the moons or whatever.
Yes,
it was.
Fantasia.
Fantasia, yeah, it's like that. Like that. The Sorcerer's Apprentice, that little short where he made the broom and shit. As a kid, as a little kid, I was waiting for, and that did happen in the movie. I was kind of waiting for it because you can't do that iconic thing. You can't leave that out. Yeah, and so he plays obviously the sorcerer and the apprentice. I can't remember this kid's name. He's one of my favorite fucking movies. Fanboys.
Jay Baruchel?
I think so. Real
he plays
guy,
Dave.
like
is the character's name Dave?
I think
he's billed as a second actor. Then there's Alfred Molina.
Ooh, yeah, I got Doc Ock in this bitch. Yeah, I think that might have been him because I think I saw that person. I just thought he was pretty great, and then I saw him in like other things like Fanboys, which is a fantastic movie if you're a Star Wars fan. You should check it out.
Great movie.
Yeah, and I just it's not over the top either, and yeah, like I said, they do pay homage to the actual little Disney short. I can't really explain it other than that's kind of the whole. That's what it is. I'm gonna go back and watch it again. I think it is on Disney Plus. Maybe seeing it now as like an adult, it might be a little different. But there are some times where she made me fucking laugh a little bit.
That's good. Is it a kid movie or is it just more of a action movie that happens to be something kids would like?
Well, it's Disney.
It's Disney. It's Disney.
Okay.
It's about 75% kid, and and probably a little bit of subtle adult humor to keep them interested. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And I've never heard of this director, John Turteltaub.
Turteltaub is the one that did the National Treasure movies.
That's probably why Nicolas Cage got cast.
He's also the one who did. He also did, I think, all the Johnny Depp, the pirate. Movies.
And he did Phenomenon and While You Were Sleeping, which is my favorite Sandra Bullock movie. Cool.
Yeah, Turteltaub's done a few movies. He's definitely.
He does television too.
Yeah, he's definitely spread his talent around a couple different kinds of genres. He's actually made some really good movies.
Nice. He did Cool Runnings. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic movie, which is on Disney Plus. That's a very good movie.
Which is a very good movie.
Yeah.
I watched it again recently. I was like, oh, I have to. I saw it on there.
Yeah, I think we've.
Then
I think we've gone through.
I hear doggy footsteps.
When we lost John Candy.
Yeah, yeah. It was this date in history that John Candy passed away back in 1994. It was 94.
Wow. Time flies, man.
Right. Yeah, a very, very unfortunate thing. I'm trying to find the thing I used to pick the names for the movie ticket giveaway. I cannot remember for the life of me what the hell site it was that I used. Give me just 1 second while I look for this. You think I would have had this thing ready because I should have, but I failed today.
You can always do it Monday.
Shame on you.
You can always do it Monday on the Marvel show.
I have a feeling Monday we're going to be a little busy.
Yeah, I was like, that might be a big show.
That's. I mean, we're already going to have Aaron there as well, so there's 4 people going to be going over what I'm pretty sure is going to be a pretty ginormous thing.
Yeah, so, I was just,
Speaking of Marvel, I'm surprised none of us mentioned Ghost Rider.
Well, it gets an honorable mention, I guess we should say.
I was going to let you guys do it.
Well, I mean, if this is a good time for you guys to do some honorable mentions, do you guys have a couple?
Yeah, Ghost Rider, I guess.
We've already mentioned all the other ones I would have thought of. Con Air.
And The Rock. I was going to do The Rock, because that's a fucking wild movie.
Oh, wasn't he in Fast Times at Ridgemont High when he was young?
Yeah, but he was young. I mean, that was one of his.
Still, I mean, it's a cult classic, that he was in.
What about the other Fast movie, Gone in 60 Seconds?
Oh my gosh! How did I forget about that? Yes,
that was actually one of the movies. That was actually one of the movies I had on my list of potential movies to talk about.
Oh wow! Yeah, I missed that one.
Right.
Another one you could give I could give an honorable mention to. There's two of them actually. One of them is World Trade Center. He is very, very good at that movie.
I didn't see that. I can't watch movies about 9/11. It makes me cry.
What is it called? Drive Hard or something like that?
What is it?
Ooh, that. It's a little rough, but it's good.
Oh, he was also in Moonstruck. I remember that growing up.
That was another one that I was gonna.
It wasn't Raising Arizona, kind of a big deal too.
Kind of, yeah. He had a bigger role in that.
Never heard of Vampire Kiss, but I'm telling you, the movie poster looks freaky.
But yeah, one of the things I liked about World Trade Center is it's a very touchy subject to make a film about. Even if all the movies that they've made about it so far have been very good movies, but I think that because they were approached very well by the directors, that's kind of the reason. But the fact that they were able to portray this particular spot of what was going on during this entire crazy situation, to tell these stories of this Port Authority officer, this fireman, I thought it was very, very well done. Very well done indeed. Another one, I mean, I had The Rock on my list. Moonstruck was on my list as well.
It's in like underneath the rubble.
I have two more honorable mentions when you're ready.
Yeah.
I have Matchstick Men, which was really great. With I forget his name, but then also
Tim Rockwell.
Yes, Captain Corelli's Mandolin. That's a war movie. That was good.
Yeah, very much a period piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One that was really bad was The Weatherman. That one was just like
can't beat The Wicker Man.
I have to get the names of everybody from the Patreon to put on here. I really should have been ready for this, but I wasn't.
That's okay.
That's how we're BS and having the runtime here.
Let's get...
Jeremy, what's the worst Nic Cage movie you've ever seen? Yeah. One that you really wish he hadn't have done. I've heard people say that of the movie called Season of the Witch, that they didn't like him in that. Or Adaptation.
I'm trying to think of... Oh my god. It was on that show. I believe on that show, that guy on YouTube I watched, does like bad movies. There was one of Nicolas Cage that he did, and I think I remember it, and I'm trying to remember what the hell it was called. Shit. I don't remember.
Leaving Las Vegas wasn't too bad.
No.
Was it Next?
No, I do remember that one. Oh my god, now I gotta look. I was gonna bug me. 1 second.
Left Behind.
Maybe.
Drive Angry.
I never saw Left Behind, even though I'm pretty sure it's probably interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is an interesting enough story, even though I'm not into the whole religious stuff very much. It's an interesting enough story.
He was in Kick-Ass. I never saw Kick-Ass because it looked stupid. I didn't know he was even in it. Interesting.
Yeah, let me set up the screen grabbing.
I didn't know he did a movie with Nicole Kidman, Trespass. Jesus, didn't even know they worked together before. He's done a lot more movies than I realized.
He has done a lot.
Yeah, he has definitely done a lot. But anyway, thanks for filling time, guys. I finally got my shit together for this.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
And there you see it, folks. The names of the people that could be winning $25 in free movie right now. Those are, we got Casey is Raw, who just lost a belt, unfortunately, over at Monetize This. We need to go back Friday for next time the belt is up to make sure he gets that back.
Maybe he'll be a winner tonight.
Bullseye. Yeah, maybe. And Miss The Harsh Truth, my woman, who I don't even know why I put her on here because I pay for all her movies anyway, but we're going to find out right now who wins.
Principle matter.
Yeah. I may as well put myself on here. Casey! Casey gets $25 in free movie tickets.
You lost the belt, but you won a prize.
Not bad. Good job, Casey. I'll reach out to you and figure out how to get to you
Awesome.
your $25 in free movie tickets. Good job, buddy. Casey's Raw is the winner of this month's $25 in free movie tickets.
That's awesome.
I'm happy with that. Listen, time to go ahead and wrap things up now. We've gone for a while. We probably could go a lot longer on some Nicolas Cage movies if we wanted to dig a little bit deeper, but I think we've put out some really fantastic movies. So, Cora, do you have any final thoughts on Nicolas Cage and anything we've talked about tonight?
Nope. Good. It was a good discussion, and I'm sure there's a nugget in there for anybody who wants to find something to watch this weekend. But I have a feeling most people are going to be watching WandaVision this weekend. But
I have a feeling the next few days is going to be WandaVision heavy for for most of the people who watch this.
It's about to go off.
Yeah.
About to pop off. Any final thoughts from you, my hetero life mate, Jeremy Woolner?
I don't know. I got some Nicolas Cage movies to watch, and so do you. And always remember, not the bees.
Exactly.
Stupid.
And as for me, I just want to thank you guys for coming out. We've had a pretty strong viewing. I think we were 8 or 10 strong at one point. That's not bad. I have no idea what else is going on YouTube right now. I know there's a lot of pre-gaming shows that are out right now for WandaVision since it does drop tomorrow. Don't forget, we will be back on Monday night at 8 o'clock to talk about episode 9 of WandaVision, and I have a feeling that's going to be a very, very deep discussion. And don't forget, actually, the next Monday, since it's going to be kind of an off week between the last episode of WandaVision and the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm going to be Cora, Grim Tuesday, and I will I'll be joined by Nightwatch, who's going to be Monday for the breakdown overall of the season of WandaVision. You can find him right there on Twitter. Go follow him on Twitter and YouTube and all that stuff. Definitely show that guy.
He's got a great channel, you guys.
He's got a great channel and a whole great crew over there. They talk about a lot of stuff, especially if you're into horror movies. Definitely go check this stuff out. They are big horror fans over there. So go check them out as well. Congratulations to Casey for being the winner of the $25 in free movie tickets. I'll be reaching out to you to get those to you. And thanks a lot, guys, for coming out. We will see you on Monday talking WandaVision. Adios.
Bye.